Meanwhile, I was also looking at other bounties, and Mendable kind of struck me as one that I could do. Mendable is you can basically consume your docs and your knowledge base, and you can create an AI chatbot based off of that, which is a pretty cool idea. So basically, they wanted to have a in this repo that let you ingest data from a public GitHub repository. It struck me as a little weird at first because, okay, $30 is not a whole lot. It's not like the 200 and the 400 that I was making from cal.com or Tailcall, but I did actually go for it because it just seemed something that would be quick and easy. So one thing that really signaled to me that this was going to be quick is they said, so do not start working on this before getting assigned, otherwise we can award the bounty. Other attempts will be allowed if the user assigned does not open a PR within 48 hours. So you have 2 days to do this. And they also said, if merged and is of high quality within 24 hours of the assignment, a $10 tip will be added. So what this signaled to me is that they are on top of their shit. If I can put the work in to get this done quick, then this will be quick and there won't be a lot of back and forth. There won't be a lot of refactoring that will have to be done. I jumped on this after the time expired and I opened a PR the same day, I think, or like maybe the day after. I actually encountered a good amount of issues with this one. So GitHub has a really tough rate limit based on your authentication level. So if you are unauthenticated, you don't have an identity of, okay, I'm this user making these calls. If you are unauthorized, then you can only make, I think, 50 requests in 5 minutes, which is not enough to scrape a repo, like however big or small it is. It's just simply not. So I actually had to add a GitHub authentication method. So the original scope was a public GitHub integration, which you need sign in, but that just wasn't feasible, unfortunately. But what I could actually do, I could add this authentication stuff and it would work with private repos also, which is super cool because they did eventually want to build a private repo integration as well. So the project structure of this one was actually really easy to grasp just because it's meant to be a modular thing. So I could just look at any one of them, see where they were declared, and I could just repeat that, which was super easy and super useful. I did OctoKit because they said use OctoKit. You can like use Axios for this if you don't want to increase the project footprint, but it was just, yeah, sure, OctoKit. So what they wanted is a document only mode. So you can either ingest everything, including the code, or only documents, which is like Markdown, Markdown-X, text, and RST. They have like a data provider clause that is implemented by every provider, which is super nice. And they also support something called Nango, which is super cool. And I'm going to show it to you. Nango sort of centralizes all your OAuth secrets and all your OAuth providers. So you can just integrate with everything and just like add it to your project really easy. They basically have an API wrapper built in as well, but I'm not using that because OctoKit. But you can just set up authorization really quickly without like configuring config variables in your environment file, stuff like that. This is very cool. They actually use this. It was super easy to test things with this. The get documents is like the heart of this. It determines the default branch if you didn't define a branch in the config. It gets the branch, it gets the git tree. This is like a really obscure part of the GitHub API, so it was kind of hard to be able to Google for this. So you have the git tree here, and then you get the files from it. If the configuration says only import files from here, then I check the path. And then if doc only, I filter by extensions, and then I just get the blobs. This is what really killed the limit, just that you have to get each blob is just 2 API call consuming. Yeah, then I had to guess on some stuff. I just added like GitHub comments for that because it was unclear a little bit what was supposed to happen. And then we have document type. I wasn't sure because it wasn't defined like anywhere like what this is. Turns out it's just like fed to the AI, so it doesn't really matter like what it is. So you can just write everything there. That's pretty cool. And then the rest is just boilerplate and just adding tests, which was also easy because Mango is awesome. Adding a GitHub provider to this was really fast, and just the whole like rundown of, okay, I am adding this, and then, okay, it's merged and I get rewarded was what, like a day? I think Nick reviewed it the same day I submitted it, which is awesome. I also got a tip for 20 bucks, which was cool. And it was just really fast. So this is what I meant when I said that these two are very different types of projects. So tail call, you have to do a lot of work and it's not really fast, but the rewards are bigger. Mendable is just quick things that you can do and the run through is really quick, but the rewards are smaller. You will find projects of both kinds on Agora, but this is my personal experience with these. I also added a Notion data provider, a Jira data provider, a Confluence data provider, a Salesforce data connector. What was really interesting is that because I jumped on the GitHub one and got it done, then I jumped on the Notion one and I was already tagged by Nick to work on this. And then I was on the Jira one. I was also asked by Nick to get on this. And then on the Confluence one, I don't know where, but someone tagged me here to get on it. I think it was Rishi. I don't know why I can't see it now. Anyway, so just by like building something really fast and really high quality, you can get a reputation as someone who can do these sorts of things. I also saw this with, I think, Digital Phoenix. I'm not sure I'm remembering that name correctly, but with Refact, they did a lot of stuff with Refact, and I scrolled back and that's how they did it, if I remember correctly, is that they were there at the beginning, they solved an issue really well, and they just became the go-to person to do this kind of stuff, which is awesome. And you are not too late to actually do something like this. There are new projects joining Agora. Like, you can just become a key player for a certain type of task in a project, which is very cool. I also did some fun things in here, like in the Notion data connector, I actually had to write a markdown converter to convert like Notion blocks to markdown. It was cool. And then I because I wrote this, I could also borrow this code to work on Jira and Confluence and so on and so forth. That was basically what I did for Mendable. And then the more interesting stuff that I did is on tail call, actually, with the execution spec snapshot testing framework.